Out of the tens of millions of people who have heard of Geometry Dash, some will have never accessed the full version of the game where you can play over 50 million levels made by thousands of different creators. Out of this player population, only a few have heard of the name Vismuth. He is a creator most known for an extreme demon he made in 2.0 called Niflheim. There's also his most recent level, a featured 2.1 demon level called the Regression. Even out of the people who know these levels, very few know of Vismuth's other levels. Mostly because, unlike Niflheim and the Regression, none of Vismuth's other levels have received a star rating. Because of this, every time a discussion about the great creators of the past opens up, you'll always hear about Funny Game, Darnock, and Majako, but you'll probably never hear about Vismuth. This is quite unfortunate because at a certain point in Geometry Dash history, Vismuth may have been the greatest creator to ever post an online level. Alright, so here we are in Geometry Dash. So, if you search up Vismuth's name here, you can see that he has 4 creator points. The other stats, they're alright. Anyways, like I said, he had the Regression and Niflheim rated. So, let's go all the way back to Pipe Step. So, looking here, the idea is around the late 1.6 era. Makes sense because this level is the club step theming. So if I use my little practice mode hack here, you can already see where like the pipe theming comes in with the level. I wonder if you guys hear me spamming the checkpoint. You probably do. My mic picks up a lot of things. So yeah, okay, this is actually pretty cool where he uses solely the color lines to decorate the block structures. Another gravity ball part. There's definitely a bunch of rate-worthy decoration here. See, apparently, back in the day, right, there was no actual mod system like we have now. Like, I think we have over 100 mods now. And that actually helps the game a ton, right? Because that's 100 more people seeing your level. Back then, it was basically whoever knew the secret of Touch Arcade would be able to contact RobTop immediately. So, it was mainly Darnock getting everyone's levels featured. So, I tried this level in practice mode, and these spike structures with, like, the exclamation mark things look way cooler. It's really unique block design, and you're going to see a lot more of that from Vismuth in the future levels. So a lot of this is more of the same, just about rate-worthy. Got a bunch of club step monsters. He also likes I can tell one of his favorite levels are Clutterfunk. You're going to see a lot of those solely black block structures. We get into this other part. Another thing he likes doing, mixing in a lot of different types of blocks. It's pretty interesting. Okay, so here is like a bit of a title screen, which is cool, because unlike most other levels of the time, they would have it at the end. That being said, this is some pretty difficult gameplay. Alright, I think I gotta start it from the top.
Bruh, bruh, bruh.
Alright, a little bit more back, because while trying to beat this level in normal mode, I did fail a bunch on this part. Alright, so that's some interesting gameplay for sure. The rest of it is pretty easy. And I guess that bit I said about the title screen in the earlier part of the level didn't really matter, because he has pipe step there anyways. So, moving on to his next level is 3 Forts. I do not know how to beat the start of this level, but it's pretty good. That's an interesting comment by Josh Dash, such an underrated creator before Niflheim came out. And then Team Hacks. I have no idea what the story behind this guy is, because I see this same account, and it's like usually the top like comment of every single map pack demon. I find that to be pretty interesting. I wonder if he was like maybe the first like botter. So going into 3 Forts, it's pretty simple. Slightly rate-worthy block design. Nothing too impressive though. This is definitely not Vismuth's best. Keep in mind, this is probably around the 1.7 era, so he's still making his way up the ladder. So here we sort of see like, these structures remind me of early Funny Game, early Majako. Like really early Funny Game, before the Funny Game Holiday era. I believe a level that Funny Game made was called Knock'em, not to be confused with a GD Sub-Zero level. But that's a really good level for its time. Pretty underrated. So we have more like focus on structures during this part. This part definitely looks better than the beginning. But this is only a little bit of what Vismuth is capable of. the levels sync actually pretty good. There's certain like orb taps that sync to the music. Here's some more pretty good saw block designs. The Clutterfunk thing. These little guys, they're gonna get a bit more significant later, and you're gonna see why. Alright, so here's the last part. It's pretty chill, well decorated part. I'm really surprised that this guy went under the radar for so long, but I guess the fact that he got rated in 2.0 is representative of how far unnoticed creators have come. So I know a bunch of people still complain about being underrated, but this is probably the biggest case of that. And like a lot of the levels of the time, it had a nice little thank you screen at the end to remind you of how old it was. So let's see here, okay? The ID here is around 1 million, so that is 1.7 era, in my understanding. Prohibited Prison. So this is a really good level. So you know how I said that thing about the cubes? Well, yeah, here's where they become more significant. There's a bunch of them trapped in these little things. There's even like little mini cubes. That's a really good detail. So let's see, going into the next part, a bit of a prison dance floor. Alright, and now here's some really good structures of cubes being trapped. You know, it does make prison look a little bit more appealing than usual. Alright, going into the next part, it's a bit more of the same, except it's mixed in with the Clutterfunk-like structures. Nice club step monster to remind you that this is a Vismuth level. Alright, so this part I really like, because, well, there's a bunch of guards now. You gotta, it's like you're escaping the prison, and the guards have to stop you. It reminds me of like that one stick game. If you think about it, it's like a level that tells a story in a way, which is something that you never see from a level that's made this early. Like, one of the first levels that I could think of that tell a story was what I talked about in episode 3 of the Geometry Dash documentary, Lonesome by Funny Game. So now these guards are confused. They're about to, like, shoot each other. They have no idea who escaped because they all look the same. Alright, so now he innovates even more with having, like, these guards, like, have a ship just like you. And that's a pretty cool detail. So here's our great escape. It's like the last 20% of the level. That's synced really well. Alright, in this part, a little bit more structures, and then you spam, we're away, and we made it. That is definitely my favorite Vismuth level so far. Now playing Just Cause. Very interesting. Base After Journey. So this level was also made... Well, actually, okay. This is a 1.8 level. Because I remember having to, like, cite exactly, like, when the IDs changed for the documentary so I knew what footage to include. And I believe 1.7 levels end around the 1.6 million ID mark. So Base After Journey. Let's see. So this early part reminds me of trees. So far. Alright, now white trees, so I guess maybe it snowed. Yeah, this early part definitely reminds me of trees. So this part, it's a bit more of the same. Definitely rate-worthy block design, but not too impressive yet. Yeah, so there you can see the sort of new 1.8 blocks being used. Nice little build-up, and Base After Journey. Very good title screen. So this cave part, it sort of reminds me of like a Super Mario Bros. 3 level, like a cave level, except with a bit of bloodbath mixed in. Alright, blood got the drip. Let's see, so this part, looks like it's a forest in spider webs. That's a really cool design touch. This is more of the same. It's like 1.0 basic block structures, but with, vines. Okay, so this part... Oh, Alright, so now that we made our way back, what I was gonna say when I paused here was, these comets, this is like space, right? So these comets look way more cool, like those pipe step structures. They look cooler when these exclamation marks pulse. So this is some really good early level theming. Probably some of the first space-like, theming in Geometry Dash, for all I know. So, definitely the most interesting part of the level. This part is like the early falling up city. So that's cool to see. And then, you know, the usual thank you. Okay, so the green with these stones, I'm not gonna lie, it does remind me of that one level. Alright, so this level is called Huge Funk Test Version. I checked on the rest of the account. There's no such thing as a full Huge Funk version. So, going into practice mode here, you can see that all these are... This is probably before the scales were introduced in 1.9. I'm not sure if the scales were introduced in 1.9 actually, but this is before scaling was introduced, that's for sure. And you could see that he was sort of trying to make this unique concept of the blocks being bigger than they are. Of course, there's some blocks that stay the same, like those gears. They're not actually big. But there is certain things that are big, like spikes. This is probably one of his only early rated, early levels that I don't think should have been rated. Because, obviously, it's a test version, it's incomplete. But then again, Darnak had, like, a few test levels that were, rated. So, okay, look in here. That's the best block design of the level. Those little green portals, which is the icon portal. Theory of Botany by Vismuth. So this guy has really good block designs. So, it appears that, you know, botanic or whatever, so this is definitely a garden-themed level, as garden-y as Geometry Dash gets, at least. So, here we have our little title screen, Theory of Botany. So, making our way through it, there's a bunch of vines, massive emphasis on that. Look at all these apples, that's cool, design choice. So I guess he's including fruits in this level. This reminds me more of traditional Geometry Dash, but that's alright. Definitely the most difficult gameplay so far in this level. Oh wait, that sounds really cool, like a little radio sample. Okay. Let's see. So, get through here. Okay, I'm surprised I remembered how that part went. Because, like, the last time I played this level was a bit ago, so I can't say I remember much. So, a bit more of the same with the vines. These are all pretty cool levels, especially for the time. But I guess I've said that a lot now. I sound like a bit of a broken record. But, hey, I can't emphasize how good these levels... I can't emphasize enough how good these levels are, considering they never got rated. So this part is definitely corn themed. This is probably my favorite part of the level, considering that it's sticking to the theme of botanic garden really well. So, make our way through this memory part a bit. And this part is basically electrodynamics. Not much to see here. Let's see, the final part, a bit more botanic garden themed. Have to make our way through that mini portal. That's some pretty interesting gameplay. Alright. Click the right orbs at the right time. Alright, and just like that, I think we've made our way through Theory of Botany. A definitely feature-worthy level. One of the best of the time. That being said, this is the point where, if I'm right, that's right. Final Sector is a very interesting level. Because, like I said, the best creator that you've never known, this could be the point where, in my opinion, Vismuth surpasses every single creator, including Funny Game. ID 2.1 million. That places it in mid 1.8. Alright guys, so here we are in Woogie's replay of Final Sector. So, it's a nice www.bandicam.co.kr logo. I think that means that's like Bandicam in Korean. So that first part had some pretty cool, like, disappearing and reappearing, like, chains of spikes. Then we transition into these parts. Now, these parts just have really good block design overall. There's so much things to say about them. Nice Final Sector title screen. This part's a bit less detailed, but the rest of the parts definitely make up for it. Alright, so we're back to the pretty good decoration with many block structures being combined. This is probably the peak of Geometry Dash 1.8 from every single level that I've seen. I think this is truly where Vismuth distances himself as the best creator in Geometry Dash of 1.8. So this part looks sort of like the decoration of Laser Room, I believe. I believe that's what the level is called. And this part has got more... Okay, now there's some pretty interesting orb chains going on. So this is a pretty interesting form of gameplay. I don't think we saw any of this until like Heartbeat in 2.0 with Carmel. So then we have the final part, ending off the Sector series. So yeah, definitely a cool part. We have the Vismuth end card, and yeah, that's probably the best 1.8 level. Alright, so ending off with Vismuth's 1.8 era, we see Laputa. Spanish dudes have a field day with this name. Well, let's just say this is definitely going to be an interesting level. So, that was some pretty good sync, as usual. Okay. Alright. So here's this factory part. It looks really good for the time. I can tell what it is. With a lot of 1.9 levels, sometimes it's not as easy, but this level's pretty good. It's definitely so far. So we got some pretty good block design, and now it seems like this is still factory, but it's like some sort of rainy setting. Maybe the factory stuff is trying to produce like CO2 or clouds or whatever. I've seen stuff like that in later 2.0 levels. Alright, so here in this drop, okay, this drop has probably the worst gameplay out of any Vismuth level. It's completely memory. The only reason I'm able to like mildly go through this, and even then I'm not doing too well, is because I've had to go through this part multiple times. So it's a bunch of islands, which is definitely cool decoration. I do have to say though, it's my least favorite part of the level because no matter how cool the decoration is, its gameplay just can't be forgiven. Okay. Okay, finally made it through that little segment there. Okay. I can tell that this maze part is about to end. So... Alright. So this part, I can't really tell what it is too well, but it definitely looks good. It has some of the... Okay. That is a cool effect. You can see the pipes. It's like, it mimics moving obstacles. This might have been before the Sumsar level. And then this part, oh wow, so it has more seemingly moving things. This is a cool effect to see because even this, if this came after moving obstacles, which it probably did, it's able to mix those moving obstacles in not just a black environment, but just like, just a cool environment overall. Alright, so this seems to be the final part. It reminds me of Lucid Dreams. I know it came out after Lucid Dreams. And then, the traditional thank you. What a great level by Vismuth. On one hand, while that level is pretty good, I do think that Vismuth got retaken over by Funny Game, because at that point, Funny Game was just doing so much impressive effect levels that it wasn't even funny. Okay, wait, so hold up. Okay, for Zobros Creator Contest. So, Zobros hosted a creator contest in early 2.0 that was basically use 1.6 decoration or less. So, in this point, since this is 18.3 million, this is obviously well within 2.0. So, yeah, it's arguable as to whether this level deserved a rate, although I think there is a Heinz level. I forgot what it was called. I think it's called Maxed, but I could be wrong. There's a Heinz level that is in the 1.6 contest that got rated. Maybe it's because it won, maybe it's because of something else, but let's dive into this level anyways, because it's Vismuth's last big level before releasing the previously mentioned Niflheim. So, if this came out in 1.6, it would easily be Vismuth's best level of the time. I like Prohibited Prison, but this just looks way better. Just the detailed block design and everything else combined. I don't even know how this is possible to make it in 1.6. I could see it. I used to see some of the Clutterfunk blocks. I think I did that part wrong, but we got through it anyways. Also, another detail. I'm not sure if this was part of it. I think the Hinge level used X-Step, so maybe having to use a song that was made before 1.6 was a part of it. Alright, I did the previous part wrong, so we gotta go back through. Okay, let's go through the ship part. It should be pretty easy. Alright, that was a pretty good well-synced part. And that part was a piece of cake now that we did the first part correctly. This looks like akin to Bloodbath. I know Bloodbath is a weird comparison. I've been comparing some Vismuth levels to Bloodbath, but it looks on par with the 1.9 level. Alright. And Frozen Sector, it's pretty interesting. Okay. If you view Vismuth's sector levels as like a timeline, you could view Frozen Sector as something that took place before the final sector. That's just a really weird thought I came up with. It has barely any relevance. Maybe Final Sector will forever be the final sector. Who knows? So, we get into a nice little Vismuth maze. He seems to like doing this. And it's not my favorite gameplay habit, but I guess the 1. Well, yeah, these are 1.6 blocks, and the invisible block mazes only became really popular when Theory of Everything 2 did them. Wait, hold on. Did that bit I just said about the Theory of Everything song? Is this Theory of Everything too? I think this is Theory of Everything too. So that part, that bit I might have said about the having used a song before 1.6 might be wrong. Yeah, this is definitely Theory of Everything too, no doubt in my mind. Yeah, I don't know the exact context of that, you know, contest that took place like 5 years ago. Let's see here. I do not know how I'm gonna get through this one. Okay, very, very difficult gameplay here. Uh-huh. Bruh. Okay, so that's a very specific timing. Definitely the worst part of the level. Every part with an invisible block maze is immediately the worst part of the level. So this part, wow, that's some really good fake block design. All of this is, well, if this was released in 1.6, it would easily take place as the best level. I don't know if I can compare this to Maxed, because I basically forgot what that Heinz level looked like. But yeah, okay, so this looks like some rooks from chess. So very detailed. Nice little Vismuth title card. Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, ba-da-da-dum. Yeah, alright. So Vismuth likes to include at least one clubstep monster in his level. If that's one thing you want to take away from this video, it's that. Alright, so some more interesting orb rings. Definitely not as bad as the maze parts. So it looks like we have to jump here. Alright. Alright. And now, this is around the final part, so this might be my favorite part of the level. It looks really good. And then, the nice Frozen Sector end card. So, this takes us through Vismuth's entire career before Niflheim. And I have to say, the only levels that you could argue probably shouldn't have been rated is Frozen Sector, maybe, because it's a really impressive for a 1.6 level, sure, but this is 2.0 we're talking about. Even then, this looks better than a lot of early 2.0 levels, let's be real here. And, yeah, then there's also, let's see, Huge Funk Test version, because that's just a test version. It's not really a complete level, so you could argue that it shouldn't have gotten rated. So, interestingly enough, even though we've seen all of these amazing things, this is Vismuth's most popular pre-Niflheim level. Conical Challenge, themed after the Carmel level. Conical Depression. So, it is a little disappointing to see that this is his most popular level. But just for the goofs, I'm gonna see if I can complete this live. Yes! Okay. I'm not gonna lie, I did like 250 attempt takes before this, and it was long, okay? But I did it, and for just 4 attempts, so that looks clean. It wasn't clean. It was bloody. But luckily, in the aftermath of the cataclysm, I always win the bloodbath. Alright, aside from this, we got this dead one. This is a layout. Right? Yeah, it's a layout. It might be themed after the Caustic layout, because I remember there was a old Caustic like challenge where Buzztone Symphony was the song you had to use. Then there's another great layout. Obviously none of these deserve to be rated. I don't know what ease is, I actually forgot. It's another layout, so that doesn't deserve to be rated. And then there's, interestingly enough, something called Eternal Sector, a Magellan layout contest. So another layout, so alright, doesn't deserve to be rated. And then finally we get the Regression. So obviously Vismuth had a great career before Niflheim that has gone unnoticed for so long. I think he definitely peaked around Final Sector, and by the time he released Laputa, he got kind of beat again by Funny Game. And even some other effect creators at the time started rising up too. So yeah, after that he went pretty inactive, so by the time Frozen Sector came out, he was beaten by a lot more people. But that being said, his accomplishments before 2.0 definitely can't be ignored. And seeing as RobTop still rates old things like 1.9 levels, I know this is quite the stretch, but it'd be cool to see if some of these got a rate sometime, because it would be nice to see Vismuth get some actual good credit for his old work, and people would definitely be interested to play these. Overall, to clear up some loose ends, one weird thing about Vismuth's history is that shortly after making Laputa, he made a second account called Our Rumble, which actually got his first and second level featured. Both of these levels are demon levels. He wouldn't use this account for any other major things, and he would then move back to his first account. You know the rest. Vismuth's main influence these days comes from having collaboration parts in future levels, most notably a layout part in Limbo and a decoration part in Misanthrope, showing that unlike many other creators of his time, he was able to adapt and overcome the challenges that the new updates brought to the table. His career currently has a bright future, and whether it be in the late months of 2.1 or the dawn of 2.2, it seems like Vismuth is gonna stick around.